Hi everyone, this is Jeff. I am the coordinator for the Loner Scope program for Hamilton Amateur Astronomers. This is one of the telescopes that's available for you to borrow in the program. This is the Celestron Nexstar 8SE, a schmidt-cassegrain design. There's 3 other telescopes that are available in the program. They are all of the Skywatcher 8-inch Dobsonian style. They're wonderful, probably the #1 telescope for beginners because they provide really bright, crisp views and are so easy to use. How poetic is that? This one here is more advanced. So this one requires some knowledge in order to use it. It's not impossibly hard to learn, but there is a learning curve. This is a go-to telescope. It's on its own mount that is powered with either house power or battery power. There are batteries that I provide for the telescope. There's also a software to learn, and it's interfaced with the hand controller. And you need to learn how to do alignment and how to find targets. And then once you get it aligned, it will track the night sky. It is also a wonderful telescope and probably the #1 telescope for advanced users. It is wonderful on solar system objects, planets and the moon, because of the 2,000 millimeter focal length. It's also very good on deep sky objects, especially when it's used with a reducer. And I've also provided a reducer for the telescope. Now today I've got a project, and that is to clean the corrector plate, this thing right here. And if I just come in a little closer, you can see that it's quite dirty. All the dust on it. There's some fingerprints, some smudges. But what's more worrisome is what's on the inside of this corrector plate. You can see up at the top here, there's this large cloud, and then there's stuff like this right here. Now, this is, I believe, mold or fungus, and so is that. So that needs to be cleaned as well. As far as anything else, like the primary mirror in the bottom, it looks clean, but even if it was dirty, I would not be messing with that. Mirror surface is really sensitive. But I would be able to have a look at the secondary mirror, which is behind this, and see if that's clean once I get the corrector plate taken out. And the procedure is, having watched a bunch of videos, to first clean the outside. The idea being that you don't want to have that dirty and start pulling it out and getting contaminants and everything spread around. So I'll be cleaning the outside first, and then I'll be removing this retaining ring and pull out the corrector plate. Now, the retaining ring's position is easy to see with the writing at the top and lining up with the 6 screws that hold it in place. So that's okay, but the corrector plate will need to be marked if it isn't already marked by the manufacturer, because that corrector plate has to go back in exactly the same position it was taken out. From the factory, the corrector plate, the primary, and the secondary mirrors are all aligned in a certain way to get the best optics. So I'll be either marking with tape or with a Sharpie. If I use a Sharpie on the glass, no worries, because it's going to be covered with this retaining ring anyways. So that's the plan for that. In order to get the job done, I've got a bunch of cleaning supplies that I put together. First of all, distilled water. Distilled water is great because there's no contaminants in it at all, so it doesn't leave any residue behind. I got a bowl for mixing. I've got a couple of cleaning agents. One is this Zeiss lens cleaner. This stuff is quite good. I've used it on my camera lenses and on my telescope optics a number of times. It cleans really well and it doesn't leave that much of a soapy residue behind. I also use isopropyl alcohol. I have a big bottle of 100% isopropyl alcohol and I simply mix it with distilled water. This one's 90%, so I'll be using that. There's the Sharpie and the tape for marking the corrector plate position. For cleaning, I'm using these 100% pure organic cotton balls and also Kim wipes. These Kim wipes are really nice to have around if you have lenses and telescopes to clean the optics of. These are made for clean rooms where they have electronics and optics manufacture. I also have my own little telescope kit here that I use. So I've got a blower ball that I'm going to use first to get as much of the dust off. Oh, it's coming off pretty good there. Off as I can first. I can also use this brush. This is a camel hair brush, so it's not damaging the optics. I also use these microfiber cloths. They're nice and soft, so a good wiping agent. I reuse these, by the way. You can just simply wash them with very little detergent or soap, and then rinse them really well with the distilled water, and they're free of contaminants and ready to go. So gloves as well. I have latex gloves. These are used to handle the mirror and not leave any fingerprints behind once I've got it cleaned. So that's the plan, and I'm going to pause for a minute and get set up. I've started cleaning the corrector plate and I'm sort of getting the hang of it. I'm spraying the surface of the cotton ball to get it wet, and then the idea is not to go in a circular motion and just do one wipe straight down from the outside to the inside like so, and I'm pressing very lightly, and then I'm turning the ball to a clean surface on the other side, and I'm wiping it again very lightly. That gets thrown away, and I'm going to continue going all the way around in a circle till I get that finished, and then move on to step 2. So I've gone around the entire corrector plate with the cotton balls, 16 cotton balls in all, and I've wiped the mirror. And now the next step is to let that dry. I'll just zoom in a bit here. You can see there's still some soapy solution drying there. So we'll get that to dry off. I'm finding that I can get about 3 sides out of one chem wipe. I'm wetting it with the isopropyl alcohol, and then very gently, just enough pressure to hold it on the glass, like so. And then I can turn that over to a clean side, give it a little spray again to wet. Not too much, and then continue wiping very gently. I'm just going to finish this up, and then we'll have a look at it. So a closer look shows that the corrector plate looks really clean on the outside. There might be a few little touch-ups, but you can certainly see these spots on the inside and all that cloudiness. So I've got the last of the 6 screws out. I know that you wouldn't tighten those screws down really hard because you don't want to put any pressure on the corrector plate, but these things were really loose, like a couple of them. The heads weren't even touching. So this is very flexible, and there's just these 2 screws at the top and the bottom that I have to get around. Those screws are there for locking in the dust cover. There's some felt in behind the retaining ring. Again, not so that there's not anything hard and putting a lot of pressure on the corrector plate, so these can just be lifted out. There we go. And now I'm going to put my glove on and see how hard this is to get out of there. Okay, so I marked these little plastic nibs. There's 4 of them that hold that press against the edge of the corrector plate. So I've marked where they are with magic marker, and I'm just going to put an extra mark at the top here and at the top over here. These won't be seen. Again, the retaining ring is going to cover them. And so now I know that with the 2 marks at the top lined up with those little nibs, that it's going to go back perfectly the way it's coming out. So here we go. Wow, that's just sitting there. Wasn't even in tight. It turns out that the secondary mirror is dirty. I don't know what those white dots are. It must be some kind of a growth. The secondary mirror was very easy to clean that stuff off, just using the Zeiss cleaner and cotton ball, and barely touching the surface, it all came off. Again, I'm just waiting for the solution to dry. Then I'll blow off those bits of cotton and clean it, wipe it clean with the Kim wipes and the alcohol. So the same process again for the inside of the corrector, without trying to get stuff on the mirror. Spray the cotton ball with the cleaner, the Zeiss, and start from the inside this time, I think I will, and go outwards. And I'm turning it over to a clean side and wiping again. Very low pressure in the garbage. And I'm going to work my way around and see how it looks, and then go with the alcohol to clean the residue off. I'm finding it easier to clean the inside of the corrector than the outside. I can just hold the Kim wipe down gently on the glass and rotate, and this just wipes off all the residue of the Zeiss cleaner. I can get 3 sides out of this. So very gently holding it on the glass. So I'm almost done the inside. The secondary came out really good. I just finished blowing off the primary mirror with the blower bulb, and so the next step is to reinsert the corrector plate. I've got it all cleaned off here. Get my marks right, and one like that, and one like that. Right there. That is looking pretty good. Yes. That's it. So it came out as clean as a whistle, except there are some silvery spots on the inside of the collector plate. And I tried cleaning them several times, but you can't be rough with this, so I just wanted to leave it alone after that. I don't think it'll interfere at all with viewing or photography. So I'm going to put the ring back in and tighten it down, and we'll be done. Well, it turns out the most difficult part of cleaning the corrector plate was securing those felt strips that are behind the retaining ring, because there was no easy way to hold those in place and then put the ring on. So they kept falling around. I ended up putting the screws through both the retaining ring and the felt strips in a couple of places and finagled those on and got the screw started, and then worked my way around from there. So it's all good now. This telescope is clean and ready to go out in the Loner Scope program. So if you're interested, please contact me at the email address you see on the screen if you want to borrow this telescope or any of the 3 8-inch Dobsonian telescopes that we also have. Thanks for your time, and clear skies.